Hello, I am Janet Sternburg, and I want to tell you a story. It's a story about thinking, but the first thing I want to say is, excuse me, I need to apologize. I have never done a video before, and I am something of a mechanical moron. So it's true, it's really true. So here I am in the middle of the lockdown in my studio without access to pretty much anything I need for this, but that's okay. Maybe this will be what I need to say. That is, first thing about the video and the process of thinking is that I was asked to do a show, an exhibition, and I was given leeway to think about how I wanted it to be, what the theme would be, how to set it up, which is daunting. And it's wonderful, but it's daunting. So I went looking, and I came across in a book I really like, a book by Jane Bennett, philosopher. I came across a word that I'd never seen before, therefore it was intriguing. The word is Limbus, Limbus, Limbus. And when I looked it up, I discovered it had been coined in the 16th century by Paracelsus, the alchemist, and he took it from the Latin, and what it means is border or edge or margin. And he used it in the sense that he believed that Limbus described the hem, like a hem, in the universe where the body gave way from the physical to the spiritual. And he saw it as a place of tremendous potential. Things were becoming, which I really like. I don't like things that stay in one place static. So it spoke to me. And I thought, gee, I wonder how it is used now, and if it is used now. Well, it is. We're going to skip to the 21st century, and I found that it's used in ophthalmology, quite specifically for, now I'm going to show you close up my own eye, but maybe you'll look at your own, or if you're with someone, look at that person's. Going to come really close, ask you to look at the ring around the pupil of the eye, right where it's adjacent to the white of the eye. And you've probably never, ever looked at that before, but here it is on a selfie, probably distorted. However, it is a discrete ring. And it turns out that it just turns out because even though it had that use, which I thought was great because it made me think about optics and about seeing and about all the things that I was engaged with for this show, but then I hit pay dirt. I discovered that I discovered a discovery. It's a discovery that's maybe 20 years old, and that is the ring of the limbus is where the stem cells for the cornea live. They stay there, they maintain the health of the cornea, but if the corneal cells are damaged, and there are a number of ways they can be damaged, I learned. I may sound like I know something about this, but it's all recent learning. The way that they can be damaged is if you cry a lot, among other things. Tears will hurt those little cells. A few other things, of course, but I found that very moving. At which point the stem cells in the cornea migrate across their own border, and they begin the work of replenishing, renewing, creating new cells. They're wonderful things, and I love this phrase. They are, and this relates directly to Culture Hub and what we're thinking about today, whatever day it is for you, they are infinitely generative. You can't get rid of them. They're going to keep on generating themselves. So that made me think a number of things. I think I'm going to skip a little bit. I'll just tell you that what I ended up doing for the show is making a limbus in printing around each of my images so that they, in kind of the same way that it surrounds the eyeball, so too there was a rim that surrounded the images. And then with the help of a wonderful printer, we made a way for pieces of the image to cross the limbus and as if they're moving through that border. But I got so interested in the whole idea of what limbus could mean. I guess the next step in this journey with the word is that I was in Italy and I saw something very beautiful off in the corner of a room. It turned out to be a woman restoring a wall. Everybody else was looking straight ahead because there was a beautiful cabinet, but the sun was coming in on this woman and just making her luminous. And so I started snapping a lot of pictures of her. And then I looked at them and they were of such low resolution that some people would consider them impossible. I had some prints made of them for the show that we were going to do live and will again. They're engineer prints, like light, translucent, and they're enormous. But the more important point is that that she's almost not there, but she is. She is the restorer. And so I started thinking about all the different ways that we can restore in the culture broadly, very broadly, and also replenish and become ourselves infinitely generative. So this is really a big deal. I think I'm going to read, why not? Next to me is a couple of quotes. I thought it was next to me, maybe it's not. Bear with me. And now it is. I don't know if I wrote this. Yeah, I wrote it. Here it goes. The stem cells in the limbus are infinitely generative. The limbus itself is a site of crossings, of vivifying, replenishing, regenerating, even maintaining. It's an images of porous borders. And then I say, I hope you don't mind my reading aloud, in this time of hard, closed borders, the limbus as fact and metaphor, and this is really a lot about metaphor. It's a way of thinking that's digging down and finding more layers to a metaphor. Fact and metaphor as pathway, as passage. It shows not only another way of seeing, which is where I started out, but it seems to me another way of being. Now, I'm going to go on a little bit because I just see there's some stuff here that I find interesting. The limbus is what surrounds what's at the edge of all of us, what makes us adjacent to one another, what makes us cross our own thresholds. The stem cell, or cells, is anyone and any things that restores, replenishes, maintain. And I think at that point I started thinking about how this was kind of everywhere now in the culture. Everywhere is, of course, an exaggeration, but I was thinking about Meredith Monk's wonderful performance piece, Dan's performance piece, stem cells, cell songs, and exhibitions, etc. It just kept going on. And then someone said something quite remarkable, that she said, you are your own limbus. And I haven't unpacked that yet. Maybe we will together, now, whenever. The rest of this thing is, I just mentioned things that are important to me in my work. We're not talking about me, photographer, where I have a practice of no manipulation, super low-tech equipment, but I get what I want. I want images of interpenetration, porosity, figure-ground relationships changing. To me, these are the regenerative ideas of our time, of which the limbus and the crossings and the stem cells are a part. So I am actually thinking, besides showing you images at this early stage of things, to start to enter a conversation with you. Now, I'm going to jump over a bunch of things that you may think about when you think about stem cells in general. And it's some physical things, so they're not just a metaphor. You may think about, all kinds of things, but we're really talking about is adult stem cells. And they're really kind of amazing little things. Probably very, very little. But going back to them as a metaphor and as a moment for our time, I started thinking, can art be infinitely regenerative? Can we repair? Can we restore? Can we renew? We means us artists, but it probably now means the larger society, because now at this moment in early May, we are all in a place where we know that renewal is going to have to come. It's happening even as I speak, but that it has to come because one of these days hopefully, things will change. And when they change, how can we, and now I go back, we as artists be infinitely generative? So what I am hoping is that when this portion becomes live, we'll have a back and forth on this subject. In the meantime, thank you so much, and thank you Scarlett Kim and the people at Culture Hub, Billy Clark. This wonderful idea, this wonderful organization. Bye-bye.